Hey guys, so today we're going to be reading Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, chapter 18. If you haven't seen chapter 17 yet, I'll link it in the description down below. Alright, so let's get started. Chapter 18. Minli followed the boy through the maze of streets and alleyways for what seemed like a long time. If it wasn't for the big buffalo that was always in view, Minli would have been easily lost him many times. Not too far now, the boy said to her. Minli realized that the boy lived very far from the inner city. The road was no longer stone, but dirt. Even from a distance, she could see that the outer city wall was cracked and broken. I live over here, the boy said, pointing, and Minli looked down at a muddy path that led to a shabby, rickety hut that looked as if the first strong wind would blow it away. The boy brought the buffalo right into the hut, and Minli went in after. She looked around the small, meager home. It was the only furnishing Minli could see were two wooden crates and a rough stool. On one side of the hut was a crude metal grate stool in the fireplace with a well-worn pot on it. The other half of the hut was divided into two piles of dry grass. Minli watched as the buffalo went directly to one pile and lay down. The boy gave an affectionate slap on the side and dragged the rough wooden stool across the floor to her. "Here, have a seat," he said, as he sprawled onto the other pile of grass. "And tell me why you want to go to that palace so much." "It is not the palace," Minli said as she sat on the stool. "I want to see the king." And she told the buffalo boy the whole story. She saw his face wrinkle with disbelief when she talked about the fish, and he shook his head when she told about the dragon, but he didn't interrupt once. "I don't know how you're going to go see the king," the boy told her when she finished. Even if you do see him, I doubt you'll be able to ask for a borrowed line, especially when you don't know what it is." "But I have to," Minli said. "There must be a way." "Well, I always think better after I've eaten," the boy said, and he stood up and opened one of the crates. "Let's have dinner." While he fried the plain bamboo shoots in the pot over the fireplace, Minli looked around the bare room. "Do you live by yourself?" she asked. "Uh-huh," the boy nodded. "My parents died 4 years ago. Ever since then, it's been me and the buffalo." He spoke almost carelessly, without anger or self-pity. Suddenly, Minli thought about her own home. The wood floor always swept by Ma, the extra blankets Ba put over her by the wind blew cold. When the wind blew cold, and she felt a strange tightness in her throat. The boy finished cooking and pushed the cooked bamboo like thinly sliced pieces of yellow wood onto a plate. He only had one plate, so he set it on the stool next to the 3 peaches. Minli had left, and both sat cross-legged on the ground. She shook out her chopsticks. He only had one pair of those as well. And each picked and ate with the stool, as a table and single plates between them. "You don't have any aunts or uncles?" Minli asked. "Other family or friends?" "Well," the boy said, tossed a peach to the buffalo, and then hesitated. "I do have one friend," and Minli was surprised to see his face change unexpectedly. The sharpness of his expression softened, like a flower blossoming. His smile gentle. "Who is it?" Minli asked. The story of the Buffalo Boy's friend. Sometimes, during the hot summer days, there is not enough water for my buffalo, so I like to take him out of the city into the surrounding forest to drink in the stream there. One day, I brought him to the forest, and he kept pulling and pushing me away from the stream. No matter what I did, he refused to go in my direction. So finally, I just let him lead the way. And he brought me to a part of the forest I had never seen before, a part I don't think anyone from the city has seen before. The trees seemed to reach the clouds, the green grass felt like a silk blanket, and there was a lake of clear water so pure and clean it looked as if it were a piece of the sky. But the most beautiful thing there was the 7 girls swimming in it. But when the girls saw me and the buffalo come through the leaves, she screamed. They jumped out of the water, grabbed their robes, and ran away. They moved so quickly, it seemed they had all disappeared into the sky. All except for one. That is, one girl stayed in the water and stared at me, with scared eyes. Her hair floated around her like a midnight halo, and her white face looked like a star in the sky. "Hello," I said. You're Buffalo," she said, and her voice was like flute notes in the air. "He's sitting on my clothes." "Oh," I said. I quickly pushed him over. On the ground, crushed and a little muddy, was a blue silk dress. As I lifted it, the softness made me ashamed of my rough hands. "Here," I said, bringing the dress to the edge of the lake. She looked at me, hesitating. "I won't look," I said, and I placed the dress on the ground and walked a bit away with my back turned. I heard her slip out of the water and heard the rustle of the silk as she put on her clothes. "Thank you," she said. "You can turn around now." And when I turned around, a girl was smiling at me. She was my age, but she was prettier than any girl I had ever seen before. Even paintings of a princess were ugly compared to her. "I didn't mean to scare you," I said. "My buffalo was just thirsty." "I guess so," she said, and she laughed like tinkling bells as we watched my big, lumbering buffalo make his way to the water. "I can't believe my sisters just left me like that. I'm the youngest, too. They're supposed to watch me. But I'm glad they didn't because now I can talk to you. Tell me all about you. Does your buffalo go with you everywhere?" And just like that, we became good friends. She wanted to know everything about me and wasn't snobbish or anything. In fact, a lot of the time she sighed, and she wished that she had freedom. "I have to go before they miss me," she sighed. "I wish I could stay here. Where I live, I'm not allowed to do anything. There's always someone watching, telling me what to do, and it's kind of lonely." "Well, visit me," I told her. "We can have lots of fun together." "I'll try," she promised. And she kept her promise. Like she said, it was hard for her to get away, but every night on the full moon, when she visits her grandfather, she stops here. Sometimes she can only stay for a little while. Sometimes she can stay for hours. Whenever I see her, we laugh enough to last for the month. She's my best friend, and someday, when we're old enough, I'm going to talk her into staying here forever. "And she could be coming tonight," the buffalo boy said, and his smile was bright and broad. "Oh, can I meet her?" Minley said. It was funny how the buffalo boy's whole manner changed when he talked about her. His vaguely mocking attitude and tough expression was washed away, and he lit up like a lantern. She was glad the boy had someone in his life other than a buffalo. The boy looked troubled. "She's really shy around other people," he said, "and I think she's afraid if anyone sees her. Her family might find out that she stops here instead of going straight to her grandfather's. They're really strict with her." "I won't bother her, then," Minley said. "Do you want me to leave?" "No, you can just stay with the buffalo," he said. "She told me last time that this visit would have to be fast anyway. She was behind on her work, so they will expect her back quickly." "Work?" Minley asked. "What does she do?" "She weaves and spins thread," the boy said. "That's what she brings to her grandfather when she visits. Thread that she spins." "Hey, I know. I'll ask her how you can see the king. She'll know." "How will a weaving girl know about the king?" Minley asked. "Does she live in the inner city?" "No, she lives far away," the boy said vaguely. "But she knows a lot of things," Minley shrugged. It didn't seem likely to her that a friend of a buffalo would know how she could see the king, but as she didn't have any ideas of her own, she would hope. And that was the end of chapter 19. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give this video a like, subscribe down below, and stay tuned for chapter 19. Bye!